One championship, three absolute killers, only one walked away champion. This is how Lando Norris finally took the throne. But to understand how a kid from Bristol ended up in that arena, you have to go back to the beginning. Born in 1999, son of a British millionaire and a Belgian mum, dual passport, and Valentino Rossi as his hero. At 7, he saw a kart race and got completely hooked, and normal school was out, full-time racing and a private tutor were in. What he did as a kid is straight up insane. Youngest karting world champion ever in 2014, and then, in just 4 years of single-seaters, he bagged 5 big titles: British F1 2015, Toyota Racing Series, plus both Formula Renault Series in 2016 and European F3 in 2017. In 2018, he jumped to F2, led half the season, and only a couple of screw-ups stopped him from beating Russell, finished runner-up. McLaren had already snapped him up in 2017, gave him tests, made him reserve driver, and in 2019, still only 19, stuck him straight in the race seat next to Sainz. Kid arrived in F1, having destroyed everything below it. And then, in just his second Grand Prix, he parked the McLaren in 6th to grab his very first points. People sat up. The rest of the season was a brutal baptism of fire, crashes, mechanical failures, engines dying on the last lap when he was in the top 5, pit stops that lasted forever, basically every kind of bad luck you can imagine. Yet whenever the car didn't fall apart, he looked pure class, strong qualifying, brave moves, and a handful of solid points finishes that kept proving the speed was real. Ended the year 11th with 49 points, half of what Sainz scored, but outqualified his teammate 11-10 and left zero doubt that the raw talent was there. McLaren locked him down for years straight away. 2019, rookie year, got absolutely battered by bad luck, but those first points and flashes of brilliance screamed, "This kid is the real deal." 1 year later, 2020, the world finally got the moment everyone had been waiting for, his first F1 podium. It all happened in Austria, the race that opened the crazy pandemic calendar. He qualified 4th, stayed calm, and when Hamilton got slapped with 5 seconds for tipping Albon off, Lando went for it. Fastest lap on the absolute last lap and snatched 3rd, just 4.8 seconds off the winning Mercedes. At 20 years and 235 days, he became the 3rd youngest podium finisher in F1 history. At the end of the year, Norris finished 9th in the championship with 97 points, just 8 behind Sainz. He also helped McLaren grab 3rd in Constructors over Racing Point and showed the world he had the speed, the fight-back ability, and the talent to be something special. And then 2021, when Lando went from promising kid to genuine frontrunner. The headline moment came in soaking Russia. He nailed his very first F1 pole position and led most of the race until a late call to stay on slicks in the rain dropped him to 7th. Heartbreaker, but it proved he belonged at the sharp end. On top of that, he racked up 4 podiums, Imola, Monaco, Austria, and a brilliant second in Monza that gave McLaren their first 1-2 since 2010, and spent a chunk of the season sitting 3rd in the championship. He was fast everywhere, consistent as hell, points in almost every race, and absolutely destroyed his new teammate Ricciardo, 160-115. A couple of bad moments cost him a shot at something bigger, but he still finished 6th in the world, his best result ever and only 4.5 points off his old teammate Sainz. 2021 was the year Norris cemented himself as a proper top-tier driver, fast enough to fight for poles and podiums on merit, even if a bit of luck and experience in the clutch moments was still missing. 2022 was a rough year for McLaren and a total disaster for Ricciardo, but Lando stepped up and carried the team on his shoulders like never before. He renewed through 2025 before the season even started, did the whole Bahrain test solo when Ricciardo had COVID, and then dragged a difficult car to the team's only podium of the year at Imola. After that, it was pure damage limitation, squeezing points when the car had no right to be near the top 10, and basically making sure McLaren stayed in the fight. He scored more than triple Ricciardo's points, 122-37, finished 7th in the drivers' standings, and kept the team from sliding any further than 5th in Constructors. 2022 was a season of consistency and grinding out points for Norris, but without the outright speed or the big results he'd shown in 2021. 2023 started as an absolute nightmare, probably McLaren's worst opening stretch in the hybrid era, and looked like the team was heading for the back of the grid. Then the big upgrade landed in Austria, and everything flipped. From Silverstone onwards, Lando and the car were transformed. He suddenly became the guy who lived on the podium steps. 7 times he finished second, a modern F1 record for most runner-up spots without a single win. He came agonizingly close to the top 4, finishing 6th in the championship with 205 points and just 1 single point away from 4th, more than double what rookie teammate Piastri managed. 2023 was the year McLaren went from being the Paddock's punchline to a regular podium threat, and Lando established himself as the driver who came closest to actually stopping Red Bull's winning streak. And 2024 delivered it. This was the year Lando finally became a winner, and for the first time, a genuine championship contender. It all started in Miami. A perfectly timed safety car handed him the lead, and he held off Verstappen to take his long-awaited first victory. After that, the floodgates opened. 4 wins in total, 8 poles, and a car that was clearly the second fastest on the grid for most of the season. He spent the second half of the year trading blows with Verstappen, winning in Zandvoort, Singapore, and Abu Dhabi, where he led every lap to seal McLaren's first constructors' title since 1998. For months, he was the only driver who looked capable of stopping the Red Bull domination. In the end, a few costly mistakes and strategy calls meant Verstappen wrapped up the driver's crown in Las Vegas, leaving Lando as runner-up 63 points behind. But the message was crystal clear. Lando had arrived as a race winner and a legitimate title threat. 2024 was the year Norris finally started winning, became a regular winner, and led McLaren to their first constructors' title in 26 years, but also the year that showed he still lacked that final bit of ice-cold perfection needed to truly fight Verstappen for the driver's crown. 2025 was the year Lando went all in for his first world title, locked in a knife-edge fight with teammate Oscar Piastri and old rival Max Verstappen right down to the wire. McLaren arrived as favourites after their constructors' triumph the year before, and Lando kicked it off with a wet-weather masterclass, pole and victory in Australia to grab the early lead. From there, it was a brutal 3-way scrap. Lando dominated at home in Silverstone, cruised to victory in Monaco from pole, and turned the second half into his playground with back-to-back wins in Mexico and Brazil that flipped the standings in his favour. But it was no smooth ride. Crashes with Piastri in Canada and Singapore tested team loyalty. A double disqualification in Vegas for plankwear nearly handed Verstappen the momentum, and a backfired strategy in Qatar's sprint kept Piastri breathing down his neck. Lando admitted he'd learned from 2024's close calls, but mistakes like that, oil leak DNF in the Netherlands, or the plank drama showed the pressure was real, dropping him points behind at key moments and turning every race into a survival test. Heading into Abu Dhabi with a slim 12-point lead over Verstappen and Piastri 16 back, it all came down to the finale. Max snatched pole, Lando lined up second. Lights out, and Verstappen disappeared up front like he always does when the crown is on the line. Piastri hunted him down, but couldn't find a way past. Lando stayed calm, defended from the chasing pack, and brought it home third, right behind the 2 men who had made his life hell all year. The checkered flag fell. Verstappen won the race, Piastri took second, and Lando Norris crossed the line third to become world champion by the smallest possible margin. 15 years after quitting school to chase a karting dream, the kid who lived 1,000 almosts finally crossed the line and became world champion. Now the only question left, how long is this reign going to last? Drop your prediction in the comments, smash that like button if this championship gave you chills, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter, because this story is just getting started.